I've just made a video about the PowerMac G4, but we've got Adobe Premiere installed on the PowerMac G4, so since I recorded it in DV, which is a video codec which works quite nicely on these old machines, I was actually able to edit the video on the PowerMac G4. Not many people use these old machines for video editing. Plenty of good reasons why. They're a bit slow by today's standards, even if they do work just about okay. So I've just edited that video. I thought I'll make a separate video, to show how you actually go about editing a video on such an old machine. And to be honest, it's actually not too dissimilar to how you do it now, except there's a bit of difference in how you actually get video into the machine and out of the machine, and making decisions about what you're going to use. But I've got it all set up, so I'll start the video by showing how I set it up, and how I imported the video, and how I edited it, and I'll show you the different features of the software which I used. I broke the power cable on the monitor. Let's try again. There we go, saved by the Dell. These old cameras have a useful function called clear scan, which is useful for filming CRT. So we change the shutter speed. Do we do it like, there we go, clear scan. I'm not sure how to change the clear scan frequency. Do we have to go in the menu? There we go, thanks to clear scan on these old cameras we can set the shutter speed precisely so that it matches the CRT display. Right, so now we're all plugged in, we can get rid of iTunes. For some reason it thinks we're in the year 1940. And to make a start on this, we'll use Adobe Premiere. I'll use 6.5. I've got both 6 and 6.5 on here. In fact, there might even be version 5 as well somewhere. And it's a lot easier to see things on here because this is a much bigger screen. So DV PAL real-time preview standard 48 kHz. So this version of Premiere lets us do real-time previews, which renders transitions on the fly. Previously you'd have to build a preview, so I think that's right. If you don't get the frequency right, you'll actually end up with audio sync issues. But we'll set that to DV. And we need to capture the video that we've just done, so we can do File Capture, Movie Capture. There's quite a few different ways of doing this. We could have it do it automatically. I'm going to do it manually, but I'm going to do it in a few sections. So, Enable Device Control. That will enable us to control the camera automatically. Should work. Video standard PAL generic. That should work. There we go. You can see the video is coming through on the computer screen and the tape is going. We can drag that down and it'll wind it really quickly. So they're the shots I was just getting. Now for some reason I end up with audio sync problems in Adobe Premiere 6. I don't know why. As I just mentioned, the frame rate does have to be set right, and typically I do have it set right, but sometimes it still goes wrong. So yeah, I'm not 100% certain. So to help alleviate that, I'm actually going to capture it in small bits, and it may end up being that the audio is out of sync in the final video, and because of the fact that this isn't quite as user friendly as newer machines, and I'm also making this video quite quickly, I may not quite have the chance to synchronise it all up properly. It's actually a bit difficult to judge the exposure on a camera like this when you're under office lighting, I find, and some of this actually looks a bit dark, to be honest. So we may have to brighten some of it up in Adobe Premiere, but fortunately that's not too difficult to do. I'll show you how to do a batch capture. How do we do a batch capture? Now this software dates from back in the days when you used to get an instruction manual, and these instruction manuals tell you how to do practically everything, including things like capturing video and batch capture. And it's something a lot of people don't actually know how to do nowadays, especially when people are using old cameras that they've long since forgotten about. And I can't imagine anyone would want to do it in batches in this way, but I'm going to show you how to do it the old-fashioned way. But first, I need to go and read the book. There we go, that was much easier than looking it up on the internet, so I'm going to just find where we're going to start it. We'll start the tape. Typically I just capture the whole tape, but I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to capture specific bits of the tape, and I'm going to set the computer up to do it automatically. So that's called batch capturing. So basically I'm just scrubbing through the tape to find the exact bits that I want. So I don't want that, and this will save space on the hard drive. Because you've got to remember these are relatively small hard drives compared to the ones we have nowadays. And it helps if you can actually remember which bits you wanted. I think I wanted some of this, but I really only want 10 seconds of it. So that'll do. We'll do a file name for this one, we'll call it wide shot. Set in, we'll wind that on for about 10 seconds. Oh no, see this is the problem with this this sort of capture. I'm actually talking in this video. I want the bit which I'm talking in. That was a problem because I couldn't hear the audio earlier, so I'm going to have to go back. I thought this was just a wide angle shot and it's not. There we go, so now I've got to figure out where I stopped talking. Oh, there I stopped talking, so let's go back. Somewhere. Could we do this precisely? We've got frame accurate editing because it's DV, so we can set this up right to the end of where we want it. I'm just going down there frame by frame. There we go. And we go set out. At that point, that's 1 minute 20 seconds, and we can press log. There we go, and that's gone into the batch capture window up here. So now we can do our next bit. So there isn't actually much to edit on here. It'd probably be quicker just to actually capture the whole tape. So we're going to call that one commentary 1, and we'll go on log in / out. So you can probably imagine how all this shuttling back and forth to find the bits that you want actually puts quite a bit of strain on the tape drive. So I think this might be the bit I want. And then this is the bit where I try and set it up. So if you want to look at my bottom, there we go, that's the end of the tape. So I'll give you a close-up look at the screen. We see we press OK to log it, and then somehow we've got a nice complete log on the screen there. And now we've got to let the computer automatically control the camera to record those specific time codes. So if I remember rightly, we can just press that one, and it says please insert reel 001. That's the tape which is already in, so we can press that. You'll see it's automatically winding the tape back to the start of the first clip. In fact, we can see down the viewfinder, possibly. You can see it's winding the tape, and when it gets to the right place, we're not seeing anything on screen yet, but it's going down to 1:50:03:04. So we've still got a little way to go. And when it gets to there, or just before, it will stop the tape, play the tape, and then capture from the exact time code that we've specified. Now this may all seem a little bit pointless, and nowadays it is, but this really dates from the time when you may not, one of these tapes contains about 3 hours. A computer like this PowerMac, back in the day, you might not have had enough hard drive space for 3 hours of tape, and if you were working in news or something, oh, there it goes. You might not have had the time to capture. Even if you recorded 3 hours, you might not have had the time to capture all 3 hours. You just want to capture the very specific bits that you want. But if you can queue them up like this, you see, there we go. It's I think that's probably playing. Yes, it's playing, and you can see it's now playing on the computer. So that's capturing into the hard drive. Of course, you might not have the time to capture all this. You might just want to get the bits that you want off tape, and you can queue up the bits automatically and copy them off the camera while you go and have a cup of coffee. So I'm off to put the kettle on. So there you can see it's done the first 3, it's starting to do the 4th one. And there we go, it's doing the 4th one now. There we go, that's all done, so we can close that off. So we can play the video just to check it's alright. We've lost the audio again. I think I'll have to unplug the camera to get the audio, but that looks like it's playing alright. So I can get on with the editing now. So I've set the Adobe Premiere workspace up slightly differently. I'm doing a single track editing rather than the A/B editing. That's a bit more common with what you'd use nowadays. Plus I've got 2 monitors, that's source, that's program monitor. I tend to prefer that, although you can't actually fit an awful lot on, so we've only got a really small preview. You can actually, if you're using a camcorder, you can actually plug an external monitor in and use that for monitoring the video. I have done that. It does work really well, but I haven't got the time to set that up today. So here we've got an almost blank timeline. There we go. So I've got to figure out what I want to start with. So I think the first one was in the intro clip, so we can drag that into the source window. And then somewhere we can find me talking. And we'll mark out there. And then we can click and drag that onto video 1 on the timeline. So there's our timeline, looks exactly the same as anything in a modern video editor. I've just been setting some old computers up and I thought I'd just do a video out. There we go. So we've got a few bits on the timeline. I'm just waiting for the end of this segment. Then I'll trim it in here and then just drag it onto the timeline. I wonder if the younger generation of viewers will know what this is for. Anyway, I'm making progress. You can see you can see up there we've got a timeline with several clips on it, all sorted out nicely. Still got a few of these to use up, but we're making progress. So I think the next bit we wanted was this one about the front. So, oh, I've put something on the timeline there by accident. I didn't want to do that. Can we? No, we can't ripple delete it like we can on other machines. Can we? There we go. You've only got one mouse button on here. It's a Mac, so there's only one mouse button. So you've got to control click if you want a context menu, but we can do ripple delete. There we go. Does Kdenlive have ripple delete? I was using Kdenlive a while back and it didn't have functions like ripple delete. It makes this software look very, very modern. Don't forget to save your work regularly on here, because these old Macs are actually quite prone to crashing, especially on Mac OS 9. So we've got here a bit about the ports. I actually recorded the video there and the audio separately, so to deal with that, I've actually imported the audio separately onto a different track, but I want to get rid of just that bit. So really should have brought a 2-button mouse, shouldn't I? We can unlink them like that. We can pressing the wrong button. We can press delete there. Let's just see what we've got. So we'll just trim that to there. We'll start the audio there, but I can't remember how far this. Yeah, see, that doesn't go very far, does it? Right, I wonder if we can slow that down. Yeah, I'm actually going to see if we can slow that clip down so that it actually fits the audio, because I've rambled on for too long there. So we can actually go on speed, and this is the same as in newer ones. Duration, how long is that clip? I don't know. Let's just say 25. Oops, no, I think that's a bit wrong. Right, let's try again. Let's try 25. Oh. Bit better. Maybe we can make it 30. That's about alright, isn't it? There we go, so we can trim that there and then bring the next clip along. And we can change the scale for the timeline down here, so I'm going to change it to 1 minute, and you can see there we've got a huge gap. So we've got these which I moved around earlier, so we can just drag these along. And the interface works really nicely. It works just as well as it did back in the day, and if you're used to using Kdenlive, I mean, Kdenlive is a very powerful video editor, especially with its wide codec support, but yeah, this really has the edge on user interface, and this is really quite nice to use. So I just want to add a title card in on this next clip. So to do that, we can do new title. And this loads up a titler which is about the same as what you see in the Creative Suite versions, albeit it takes the templates a very long time to load up. I'm just thinking, can we use one of the templates? Or rather one of the template styles. Don't mask. I really like the way this title designer works. I mean, compared to DaVinci Resolve, I do like the way you do it in DaVinci Resolve, but this is a bit different. It's a bit more like Photoshop, whereas DaVinci Resolve actually uses the timeline, so it's a bit different. We don't have to save it, do we? I think we can just... Maybe I will save it. So we can use these rubber bands, again exactly the same as you would on a modern one. You can control click to add keyframes, or maybe, can you? Alt click, I think, there we go. I'll have to expand that a bit more. We can drag that down there, and drag that one up, and we can alt click there. No, I don't actually want to do that. I don't think. I'm just going to extend that to the end. We'll make sure that's all the way up, and I'll just render a quick preview just so that we can see what that looks like, because it's not actually showing it as in real time. So to do that, we can double click on here, and it'll give us a preview bar. Render work area, that's it. Building preview, that's the one we want. So we'll just have to wait a while. It's DV, so it doesn't actually take too long to render on DV, but obviously if you're a bit impatient, you would have to wait for it. There we go, that's rendered, so we should be able to look at the title now. So while I've got the equipment out, I might as well get some glamour shots, and then we'll go and edit the video on the PowerMac. So just making a title for the end, just loading a template which is made of various bits, and it's very slow on this to adjust them, but this is just one of the templates, so I'm just going to put stay tuned for part 2, and I'll go and work on that for 5 minutes off camera. Well, I'm satisfied with the timeline, but this clip I think really wants brightening up, so I've just added a levels adjustment to the effects, and we seem to have crashed it again, so I'm going to leave this bit until another day, because I'm a bit tired and I really don't have the patience for things which keep crashing. Now, it wouldn't be early 2000s Adobe Premiere without some transitions, so in this shot here I've got a wide angle shot of the computer and me talking, and then I cut into a close-up of the computer screen. Now, there's nothing wrong with that as it is, but as I said, we're on the early 2000s in Adobe Premiere, so I think we need some sort of transition. So I'm going to use this one, which is a QuickTime transition. We can just drag that across there like you would in any modern editor. And one thing we can do a zoom. Now, I don't know quite how you can see it, but basically it zooms the next video over the first one. So I'm just going to place that there. You can see the in the real-time preview, which is very slow as I drag it over. Starts in the middle and zooms in. But one interesting effect that we could do, the computer screen is here, but in the other clip the computer screen is here, so we can actually move that. On custom settings, we can actually move that so that the video actually starts where the computer is. So I can, you might not be able to see it as well, but I can drag the original, the next clip around there. We'll have it about there, and we'll move that down there into the middle, and we can start the zoom at a certain size. So I'm going to make it about that, about there, so that it kind of lines up with the computer monitor in the first clip. So there we go, let's see what that looks like. That's smidging out, isn't it? Let's just I wanted to move that across a touch, maybe there. That's almost spot on. The only thing is the exposure is different on both clips. So what we can do is, I've moved the preview bar there, we can render that, and that'll take a moment to render all 30 frames, so I have to sit there and wait for it. And then we can see our transitions. Let's just watch that over. I think that looks really good. But how about we make it explode or implode? So we'll drag a new transition on. We could make it implode. So how about that? We make the video implode into the screen. Or we could make it explode like that. What does that look like? I don't know. I quite like the other one first, actually. I think I might go for... I'll have a little play with them, and I'll decide on my own what I like the best. Just finishing up the end. Right, I've checked through the timeline. I've got some transitions, I've got some adjustments, I've got some title cards in. So it's all done. Just need to export it. I do hope there's enough space on the hard drive, so we do export timeline movie. We'll call it PowerMac G4 final because it's finished. You see the settings are DV, so it's going to be formatted in DV, which is the exact same format we had originally. We've only got 8 GB left on the hard disk. I do hope that's enough. It's only about 20 minutes, so it should be. And we'll press save. It says making movie. Estimated remaining time about 2 hours, so it's got to do DV. Now, some of it being in DV, a lot of this it can actually just copy the raw data straight across from the original files. It doesn't actually have to encode anything or make any adjustments, but some of them it does. You'll see there it's going about 5 frames a second. And I'll be back in a bit when it's done. Right, it's all rendered, so I can drag the final video into there. There it is. There it is in QuickTime. There you can see the edited video. All 18 minutes of it. So, just got to upload it to YouTube now.